We will now reconvene the meeting for this special emergency agenda. This is the regular part of the meeting, and I would ask the clerk to note the roll. Okay, thank you. And the first item on the agenda under new business, and our only item is after the executive session, is to the Mesquite District election process. And I'm going to turn to our city manager first to say some words.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And first of all, I want to thank the council for coming to this special meeting in such short order. Obviously Mayor Barrett was unable to attend. He is in a remote location on vacation and could not participate. But the importance of this meeting is underscored by the significance of the issue. An election in a representative democracy is critically important. The fairness and equity of an election is one of the foundations of our form of government. The errors that have occurred in the county administration of the Mesquite District election are what has caused us to have this quickly called emergency meeting. The issue before the council is which option that they will want to choose, that you will want to choose, to instruct the county in how to fix the problem that the county has caused for the city of Peoria. And I want to underscore that our staff, the city of Peoria staff, most specifically our city clerk, Rhonda Germaninsky, and her staff, have done an exemplary job of administering the election issues. This was not a mistake of their making, of the city of Peoria's making. This is something that occurred within the county Department of Elections. And it's bad enough when an error happens once, but mistakes happen, and they took responsibility, and they were taking steps to address their error. Remarkably, the same error happened again, and that's a very serious situation. I'll call your attention to a letter before you that came in earlier today from Tom Manos, the county manager. I spoke with Mr. Manos about this yesterday evening and reiterated to him the seriousness of this matter for the city of Peoria, and he acknowledged that. This letter, and I'll just refer to a piece of it, a couple pieces of it. One is that the erroneous ballot was the responsibility of the county, and they deeply regret this error. And he's also committed that the county administration and the Board of Supervisors will work to support whatever option the city of Peoria chooses in addressing this serious matter. So I appreciate Mr. Manos's responsiveness and taking responsibility for the situation we're dealing with this afternoon. What we'll do going forward here is I'll turn it over to our city clerk, who will give a brief recitation of the facts, how it is that we came to this point today, and then she'll turn it over to our city attorney, who will walk through the various options that the staff have been looking at over the last day since we became aware of this. And I want to stress, too, that I think our staff, the city attorney, the city clerk, my staff, administrative staff, working together late into the day yesterday and overnight and this morning to put together the options and our best perspective on those options. I need to say there are no good options here. What we're faced with is choosing which of the options is the least bad, unfortunately. But I really want to credit our staff because we only became aware of this early to mid-afternoon yesterday, and they have worked quickly to put together this information because, of course, where we are in the election cycle, time is of the essence. This election is underway, and so we need to react quickly to that, and the staff have done that. And again, I want to thank you, Vice Mayor and Council, for coming together quickly to provide us with your leadership and direction on this important matter. So with that, I'll turn it over to our City Clerk.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and members of the Council. Early ballots were mailed to voters in the city on July 31st. I was notified at approximately 7:30 p.m. on August 1st that early ballots mailed to the Mesquite District voters did not contain a complete list of eligible candidates. The county took full responsibility and chose to rectify the situation by mailing out a corrected ballot. New early ballots were mailed to the voters on the permanent early voting list in the Mesquite District on Monday, August 4th. On August 6th, I was notified that new early ballots mailed to the Mesquite District contained the same error. This time, the county cited that their printing vendor failed to print the correct version of the ballot. Contained in the packet that has been provided to you today is a chronology of the communications we have had with the Maricopa County Elections Department prior to the mailing of the early ballots. This chronology will show that all communications that we've had with the county regarding candidates on the ballot reflect a complete list of eligible candidates for all seats in the city of Peoria. Currently, the county awaits direction from this council as to how to proceed, and at this time I will turn it over to our city attorney to go through those options.
Mayor, Council, this is an unprecedented situation. I've represented governmental entities and election departments for almost my entire career, over 30 years, and I have to tell you, I have never seen this situation before. I've talked to other cities in Arizona. This particular situation in the middle of an election process is unique. This is not a situation that certainly the legislature ever addressed within the statutes or intended to occur. That being said, once the city became aware that the second ballot contained this error, the city immediately began to look at the various options that exist. And underlying this, the city staff in its evaluation, it's based on what is the maximum opportunity for the qualified electors of the Mesquite District to participate in the election process. We don't look at what might favor candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. The staff doesn't take that into account. The staff's approach is we look and make a recommendation based on what is in the best interest of those voters in that district. That is what elections officers and elections departments do, is they manage an election based on the responsibility to the voters. Taking that all into account, we looked at a number of options, and I will just briefly walk through the options. The first option was what one might call a do-nothing option. The county sends out a third complete ballot. It will be a different color. For purposes of this discussion with you, we'll just call it the purple ballot. It might likely not be purple, but we'll just use that as the color so we can distinguish it from the other colors. The problem with that is we're in the middle of an election. Today is August 7th. We are 19 days away from voting at the polling place. A third ballot at this late date, it risks creating voter confusion, and I would submit it risks voter confidence in the election process. and particularly when it addresses all the other offices. If it's just a Mesquite district-only ballot, you still have the same risk of confusion and confidence. We looked at a second option. This would be a mail ballot containing just the Mesquite district, and it would be sent to every registered voter in the district. There's approximately...
Let me clarify that. It would list only the council race.
The council race, that's correct. Only the Mesquite district candidates, that council race. It would not contain any other races, not the state races, not the county races, not any other local races. That's a somewhat viable solution, but does it provide enough opportunity for the registered voters to participate in the process? From a staff standpoint, in looking at it, we did not think it does by itself. It's a start, but it doesn't go far enough. We also looked at saying, okay, we can't rescue the early voting process. Let's simply require everyone to go to the polling place and vote. I think legally that has serious problems because Arizona law grants all voters the right to vote in an early ballot, and we would be essentially denying that right. Secondly, in this particular district, the majority of the voters are on the permanent early ballot list. And so we are basically saying to the majority of the voters, you need to change how you're doing things in the middle of an election. We're changing the rules in the middle of an election. As your lawyer, I certainly don't recommend changing the rules in the middle of an election. 4, we could utilize what we call remote vote locations. What would happen here would be that you could go to this location between now and election day, and you could obtain a Mesquite district-only ballot, just with the Mesquite candidates, and you could vote there. You could also drop off your ballot, and you would be able, and how that happens is they have a secure box, and each day the county staff takes that secure box back to the county vault, and remote vote is done across the state. It's something that we don't do here, but it's something that's done, for example, in the city of Phoenix. It's a very structured process, and we looked at that. We felt just adding that to any other option might be a possibility, but it wasn't enough by itself. 5, we looked at a special election option. Now, what this would mean is we would essentially cancel the August primary in the Mesquite district. We would change the primary to November. We would then do a December or possibly a March special election. The difficulties with this is state statute, as you know, provides for consolidated election dates based on an August-November cycle. City charter and city code envision a vacancy election occurring at the city-specified election dates, and we've already told the voters that this special election would occur to fill this vacancy in the August-November cycle, so now we're suddenly changing the rules. The charter envisions that voters get the opportunity to fill the vacancy at the beginning of the term and at the soonest possible date, and now suddenly we're denying that opportunity. We don't consider whether it favors a candidate or not. Some candidates might argue, well, if the turnout is lower, maybe it would favor me versus them. We don't consider that. Is there a public possibility that that could affect confidence in the election cycle or perception that somehow the city's trying to favor a candidate? Could be. We don't consider that as a staff. We look at these based on our staff's professional judgment, the city clerk as an elections officer, myself as a city lawyer who's done elections for many, many years. When we got down and looked at the end, the option that we recommended, which is on the next page, Jeff, our recommended option would be that we would combine the following. 1, it's option 2. We will send a mail ballot, and by we, I mean the county who actually performs our elections, and we will verify and make sure that that mail ballot is the right ballot this time. It is going to be sent, and we'll call it the purple ballot, to all registered voters in the Mesquite district. Every single registered voter on the registration rolls in the Mesquite District will get this ballot. 2, we recognize some folks, well, I can't get it into the post office, I can't mail it back, I have too many things going. We will provide a second option for those folks. There will be remote vote locations to service the Mesquite District. So that how this works is you come in, there will be a county elections personnel there. You will give them your name and address. They will look you up on the computer. They will give you a custom ballot for your precinct containing the Mesquite District candidates. If you vote the mail ballot and you don't want to mail it, you'll be able to drop it off at the remote vote location. Just like in any other part of the state where they're doing remote vote locations, you can do this. This mirrors the statute to the closest possible extent because we're doing something that is already done across the state, and it is something that is routinely done. We also will allow you to take that purple ballot, and you will still be able to go to your polling place and vote on Election Day. Or if for some reason you want to drop your purple ballot off at the polling place, you'll be able to do that too. There will be a box for those ballots, a secure box, just like there is right now. If you want to drop your early ballot off at a polling place, right now you can go to a polling place. In the 2012 election, you could have gone to a polling place and dropped off your early ballot. You'll be able to do the same exact thing here. It will parallel exactly what we do.
Steve, I think also anyone has the option, if they haven't voted at all yet, just to go to the polling place and vote.
Yes, they would still be able to go to the voting booth. For some reason, if you haven't voted, you will be able to go to the polling place on Election Day. You will get the right ballot for Mesquite, and you will be able to vote at the voting booth for the candidate of your choice. What we believe in this recommendation is, from an election official standpoint and from a legal standpoint, A, it tracks the statute the closest possible way. B, it gives basically 3 different options for the Mesquite District voters to participate in the process. We will obviously be doing a major information campaign in conjunction with Maricopa County to make sure that this is explained in what I would call an election way. The explanation is not going to be that, well, some candidate was intentionally left off the ballot, nothing like that. It's going to be explained in a nonpartisan, straight fashion that, okay, there's been a problem, here's how the problem is corrected, and you as a voter can exercise any of these choices. We also will make special efforts with the county that if for some reason a voter is outside of the jurisdiction and still wants to request an early ballot, to get that ballot to them. We already have to do that with military ballots, so there's already processes in place. We normally don't adopt those in non-military situations, but again, we will make special efforts with the county to ensure that for some reason, if I have left the city, I'm a registered voter in Mesquite, but I'm vacationing in Michigan and I won't be back until September 1, but I want to vote, we will make the efforts to get that ballot to that voter so that they can vote and get it returned in time to have it counted. And there are processes in place that, working with the county, we can do that. We obviously, it's not part of this, but I think it goes without saying that the city is going to ensure that, based on your direction, that your direction is fully carried out. If that requires that we do additional and extra things with the county that are not normally done in the elected process, we will. The intent here is, at the end of the day, as the city manager said, there is no good solution. Our job as your city election official and the city clerk and as your lawyer is to recommend to you the best solution we can that protects the interest of the voters in the Mesquite District to participate in the process. And this recommendation is exactly that. And with that, I'd be pleased to answer any questions from the council in regards to the recommendation or to what's been presented.
Yes, please leave this up. I think you also need to mention, and I guess I'm going to mention it, that if there are 2 ballots out there now already. There's a yellow one and a white one, and they only have 2 of the 3 candidates on it. So that means those people didn't get a chance to vote for the 3rd candidate if they knew about the 3rd candidate and wanted to vote for him, or maybe they thought the 3rd candidate now was no longer running, who knows? But they voted already, and now they may get a purple ballot, and this one just has the council race on it,
Yes.
and they may ignore it or not even know what's going on, and that means that their earlier vote would count. And only 2 people had a chance to be voted. So that's the problem I find with this recommendation. But you need to clarify that's part of this package.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, I think that's an important point. This is simply not what happens in elections. We have a yellow ballot that was mailed out first, and then a white ballot, and now we're having to address that. Some people may have voted the yellow ballot.
Some may now vote the white.
They may not have voted the white. Now, should their vote be disqualified if they never voted the white? I think that creates a legal problem because you're essentially taking away a voter's right to vote. Some may have voted the yellow and the white. Now, in those cases, what the county would do is, because the yellow ballot had contained an error, they would then count the white ballot. Now, the white ballot that was sent out contained all the offices. And that's one of the difficulties here, too, we're trying to deal with is we don't want to do anything that affects any voter's vote for all of the other offices on this ballot, because there's a whole raft of offices: governor, secretary of state, treasurer, superintendent of public instruction, attorney general, county officers, and other offices. Now, some folks may have voted a yellow or white ballot for city council, and they may never touch another ballot. Do we disqualify their vote? I think that's very legally problematic, because they received that ballot, they acted in good faith, and to suddenly say their vote doesn't count denies them their opportunity to participate in the political process. How we try to address that is sending with an explanation every voter, whether you voted a yellow, whether you voted a white, whether you voted both yellow and white, every voter's going to get this new ballot, the purple ballot as we call it, with just the city council races and an explanation. Yes, you may have voted white, you may have voted yellow, but we would suggest you vote this ballot on the city council races because of the error that was contained in the original ballot. Every single voter will get this. There's no way we can undo what people have done, and particularly in the middle of an election process. From our standpoint, we are doing that both, and the same with remote vote. If you voted a yellow or a white, you will still be able to go to the remote vote location and vote a purple, and the purple will be counted for the Mesquite District race. This, we believe, is the best solution to ensure that if you voted a yellow or white, your rights are protected there, but your rights are also protected here.
But it's the last one they vote on?
It will, essentially, the last ballot that they voted on will be the ballot that will be counted, and except in the Mesquite District, the purple ballot, as we call it for purposes of this discussion, will override everything. For purposes of the Mesquite District, this mail ballot will be the ballot counted. We're not going to worry about any issues the county has between yellow and white. This will be the ballot.
Okay, are you finished?
That is all I have, Council.
I think the next, what would be in order is there are the three persons running in the Mesquite for the council district had indicated they would like to speak. And I think that should be done before the council discusses this recommendation and the other options. So I'm going to kind of, let's see, I'll shuffle these around, and whichever one comes up first, that person will get to speak if he or she wishes. And the first one on the reshuffling here is Bridget Binsbacher. Would you like to come up and speak? And I'm giving each speaker 4 minutes, and I will adhere to that.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and members of the council. Again, my name is Bridget Binsbacher, and I am a candidate in the Mesquite District election. And I think we can all agree this is a very unfortunate situation. Every candidate in this race that earned a spot on the ballot absolutely deserves to be on the ballot. And so taking steps to make that happen is critical to creating a fair election. In reading and watching on television about this entire situation, a great deal of emphasis has been placed on the candidates. And while it has affected all of the candidates, the primary concern absolutely needs to be for the voters in the Mesquite District and their right as voters. It's their right as citizens in the district. It's their rights as an American citizen to have their vote cast, to have their vote counted in a fair election. And I think that needs to be the #1 priority moving forward. I have lived in the West Valley for nearly 30 years, and I don't think there's ever been a time when a local Peoria City Council election has attracted this kind of media attention. So I think this is an opportunity for Peoria to take advantage of the time where people are watching, people are paying attention, particularly the voters are looking for direction and understanding as to what the next steps are going to be. So we need to make it as clear and as simple for them as possible. I have talked to a lot of voters in the Mesquite District, and I've received calls and emails and inquiries about this, and I can tell you they want to know that they can trust this process, that they're voting in a fair election, that their vote will count, and they want to vote now. So I'm here to urge all of you as a candidate in this election, as a citizen in the Mesquite District, again, to please make the necessary decisions to do what's in the best interest of the voters. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next request, Ben Toma.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, members of the council, I've chosen to recuse myself today in order to ensure that this process is as fair as possible. Because the truth of it is, this is a highly unfortunate event that no one foresaw. And at this point, my main concern are twofold. One, I want to make sure that whatever happens, that the voters have the right to choose who, and the opportunity to choose whoever they want to represent them moving forward. And secondarily, I want to make sure that every vote counts. Because to the city attorney's point earlier, that's highly important, and that's what sets this country apart from many others. I trust your decision. I am waiting to see what happens, just like everybody else. And I agree with the statement before that this has garnered a lot of attention. I think in the end, though, what really matters is what the voters of Mesquite want. So I'm looking forward to representing them moving forward, if they will have me. And If there's anything that, that comes out of this, I want to make sure that we as a city do all that we can to ensure that, that the issues that happen at the county level are accounted for in the best possible solution that we can come up with. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next request for speaking is Ken Krieger.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Mayor and members of the Peoria City Council, I come before you today to speak on this very difficult issue. Protecting the integrity of this election, protecting voters' rights, and protecting our overseas full-time active military who will now not be able to participate in this upcoming election is paramount. While much attention has been given regarding this issue, it's not about myself. It's about government being held accountable. It's about transparency and open government. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of the constituents of the Peoria-Mesquite District and giving them their true voice in this election. All I ever wanted was to be given the opportunity to represent the residents of the Mesquite District. Today I'm before you to ask you to not allow those rights to be trampled on by a hasty decision. Today my legal team announced that we have filed a 22-page complaint with the federal court here in Phoenix asking to stop this primary and allow this election to be held as a special election. Additionally, I am concerned that now the financial burden is placed on the Peoria taxpayers to fix this gross oversight, and that's wrong. I ask you today to ensure that the City of Peoria pursue every possible avenue to ensure that the Peoria voters are not burdened with the financial responsibility of the costs associated with this ballot blunder. On a side note, I would be remiss not to thank a certain person here today. I would personally like to thank Bridget Binsbacher, a candidate in this election and a great person. Not only was Bridget the first person to call me about my name being left off the first ballot, but she absolutely expressed deep concern. In these times where we're seeing candidates' families being attacked, smear campaigns, and outright lies, I am proud to have a person like Bridget on the other side. I am proud that this campaign has been about the issues and not about negative attacks. Thank you, Bridget. The people in the Mesquite District deserve a clean campaign with great choices. Finally, in this case, I know the government has wronged me, but I'm committed to make it right for the Peoria-Mesquite residents. If necessary, we will take this action to the U.S. Supreme Court to ensure an equitable and fair voting process. At this time, I may be ballotless, but I'm not hopeless, and look forward to you making the right decision that protects all Peoria voters. Fiscal accountability, protecting voters' rights, and listening to the voices of the Mesquite District voters should be a priority of this meeting today. Members of the Council, I am deeply concerned with options being proposed today as it violates voters' rights, is confusing, and does not comply with federal law. I ask you today to either support a special election or allow the courts to decide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Is there a Mesquite resident other than one of the candidates? We keep hearing about what Mesquite residents would like, but okay. Thank you. With that, I will close presentations by members in attendance here. Now we are going to move to discussion of this by members of the council, including the recommended option or other points any of you would like to make. Is there anyone on the council who would like to talk about this? Okay.
Thank you.
Bill Buchanan.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and I appreciate the comments of all the candidates. Thank you very much. As you've heard, there's no easy fix to this problem. Essentially, we are in the middle of an election, which makes it even more difficult. Everybody knows that running for office is it's difficult enough, and so my apologies go out to Mr. Krieger and to all the candidates for this travesty. There are no perfect options, but what I will be voting for is the option that is best for the voters and fairest for all of the candidates. be clear that this is not a city problem, and the county has taken full responsibility for this issue. As this moves forward, it is important that we as a city face no additional costs or no costs whatsoever as we attempt to resolve this issue. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Leone?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. First thing I want to say is I want to thank the three candidates for coming up and speak and give your position, and I appreciate that. I also want to mention that, you know, I hear things that I'm in Fry's or Safeway, and people blaming the city of Peoria. This is not the city of Peoria's fault. I want you to understand it's not the city clerk or the staff or the city manager or the council. This is all done by the county. So I just want you to understand that we are doing our best to bring this thing forward. I really like to see the county go back and do it, but we can't trust them for the third time. Twice is enough. You know, we don't want to get hit the third time. But I just want you to, I don't want you to feel that this is something you should ignore. Make sure, no matter which one you do, make sure you go down and vote. And when you vote, it's your, exercise your right to vote. It's your duty to get out there and vote for the candidate that's going to represent you for the next 4 years. It's important. So don't take the attitude that, well, I voted twice, I'm not going to vote again. We don't want that. We want you to get out there and we want you to vote for your candidate. And I can say that 14, 15 years in the council, this has never happened to me. So I can't say I know how Mesquite feels about it, but I really feel bad about it. The whole council does. And when I got the call yesterday about coming to the special meeting, well, here I am, and the rest of the council is here to do our part and to make sure that we pick the right choice for you people. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, I don't have a request from anyone else on the council to speak, but I will speak, and yes, this is a terrible situation. I know the candidates have been working hard in the Mesquite District and spending a lot of time and spending funds as well. And so for this to happen, it reflects badly on the process, and it is difficult for all of the candidates. We do have a recommended option here from our city attorney, and I think someone is going to propose that. I myself don't like this option, primarily because it allows the existing ballots that are already out there, and those ballots are fine for the other offices that are being sought, but not for the council office. It allows those to exist, and a lot of people vote very soon in terms of early ballots, and even if a third ballot comes out, they may just ignore it, even though if all candidates would have been on that first ballot, they may have voted for the candidate who was not on that ballot. So that, to me, that's a disadvantage to one of the candidates more than the others. And so I like the option of a special election, but I'm not going to propose that now because I think there's going to be a proposal for this option. Is there a proposal for the recommended option?
So
It's been proposed by Bill Patina to do this. Is there a second? And by John Edwards has seconded that. So I'm going to, does anyone want to speak further? Okay. Why don't we vote on this recommended option 2 and 3? Let me clarify. Mail options are sent to all registered voters. That's a third mail ballot. But this ballot, as opposed to the first 2 ballots, will just have the Mesquite candidates for city council on it. And it'll be a different color than the others. And so they can turn that in, and that one would be the one that would count. But they may have already selected a council person from the yellow or the white, the second one out there, that did not include one of the candidates, and they who knows, they may have left the state now, they're not around, or they're just saying, what's going on, I don't understand, and they don't vote again. And there is another option, but, it's kind of just like extending the idea of a third time. They can utilize a remote location. Or actually, as I clarified, there is a third option. Maybe they were always planning just to go to the polls in a regular way, whether they take a ballot that they already got or not and vote. So this is the recommended option, and I understand this will go to the county. And I've been told that what the county said, that they were going to move ahead with our recommendation. Is that right, Mr. Carl Swenson,
yes,
City Attorney?
The conversation I had with the county manager was that whichever option the Peoria City Council chose, he would assure that it was fully implemented. Since you bring this up, I did also mention with him the point of costs, and spoke with him about what I was sure to be the city's firm desire and insistence that any cost related to this be borne by the county, not the city, and he acknowledged that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak? No? Then why don't we vote? And on this recommended option, 2 and 4, a new purple ballot, but the yellow and white will still count if someone doesn't, for some reason, fill out the purple. I guess if the little clarification, if they did fill out the white, that would be the one that would count, right?
Vice Mayor, members of the council, yes, if for some reason...
And not the yellow if they filled out both of them.
Yes, if, that ballot would count. And just so it's clear, we're using purple for purposes of this discussion.
It may not be purple.
It may not technically be purple. Maybe it's pink, maybe it's green. It will be a clearly identifiable different ballot by color from anything that
It won't be yellow or white,
It definitely won't be yellow or white,
or near those colors.
or anything near that.
Okay. So would the council please vote on this option? The vote is 3-2, and that means it passes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because we don't have all 7 of us here. Okay, thanks.
This is a majority of the quorum.
Majority of the quorum. So we're going to move ahead then. The city recommending this recommended option, mail ballots sent to all registered voters, utilize remote vote locations. The existing ballots count obviously in terms of the other offices being sought, but as well for the city council races. Thank you. With that, I am adjourning this meeting.